Vision 2030, which is expected to pay attention to our commitment to the realization of sustainable development goals, whose roadmap we launched in September last year. Our commitment to ensure that number one is left behind is well in focus. As we are aware, the Bill of Rights in the Kenya Constitution 2010 requires that planning process addresses the development barriers that different population groups encounter. This is in order to ensure that the hidden layers of the disadvantage that affect such groups are properly identified and addressed. It is only then that the government, we can design development programs that ensure no one is left behind and the exclusion in the development of effectively addressed. The Kenya Constitution 2030 entrenches inclusive and sustainable development in Kenya's socio-economic and political agenda. The Bill of Rights in the Constitution recognizes social and economic rights, including the right to food, property, housing, clean environment, health, education, among others, for all citizens without discrimination. Our Vision 2030, under the social pillar, captures the spirit of Constitution and recognizes the importance of building a just and cohesive society that enjoys equitable social development in clean and secure environment. Through this implementation of the medium-term Plan 2 that was focused on the devolution, socio-economic development, equity, and national unity, I am pleased to say, we are making great progress towards transforming Kenya into a more equitable society. Devolution is the most transformative change that this country has ever embarked on.
The Human Development Framework and 2030 Development Agenda are mutually reinforcing. They can inform and influence each other. Building on these 5 basic messages, doing a lot of research and analysis, and drawing from different sets of data, the 2016 Human Development Report comes up with 5 major findings. The first finding is, along with progress, there are deprivations. On the progress side, since 1990, every day, 136,000 people have escaped extreme poverty. Over the same period, 2 billion people have been lifted out of low human development. But on the other side of the balance sheet, there are deprivations which are lingering, like poverty. There are deprivations which are deepening, like inequalities. There are deprivations which are emerging, like climate change. 1 in every 3 persons are still in low human development. 1.5 billion people face multidimensional poverty. When we look at the whole issue of health, every minute 11 children are dying who are under 5. Every hour we are losing 35 mothers while giving birth to a child. Inequalities have become the defining issue of our time. 8 billionaires in the world own as much wealth as the bottom 50% of humanity. Or in other words, each billionaire is worth 462 million people. This kind of inequalities is unacceptable. Women do most of the work in agriculture all over the developing world, but they account only for 9% of ownership of land. Some of these deprivations, some of these discriminations are the results of different forces: social norms and values, discriminatory laws, exclusion, and so on. In 18 countries of the world, women need permission of their husbands to take up a job. In 32 countries, they follow a different procedure to just get a passport. If this present trend continues, then East Asia will take 111 years to close just the economic gender gap. Human development will never be sustained or sustainable if it is not resilient. And resilient human development would require addressing the issue of climate change, talking about natural disasters, thinking of what can be done in conflicts, and so on and so forth. Finally, people will have to be empowered through voice and autonomy. That would require protecting and promoting their human rights, ensuring transparency and accountability so that they can really influence the things that ultimately will have impact on their lives.